So we're going to take 250 grams of chicken, and I've just made some slight incisions in the chicken. Now we need some coriander, about a bowl of fresh coriander, 5 to 6 light green chilies, the juice of 1 lemon, 10 to 10 cloves of garlic with half an inch of ginger. Then I require half a teaspoon of pepper powder, half a teaspoon of cumin powder, about 10 cloves, half an inch of cinnamon. Now we're going to grind all these ingredients except for the 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. We're going to grind them just using the lime juice. We're not going to add any water, and we're going to grind it till we get a nice thick paste, thick and smooth paste. Now this is going to be a marinade for our chicken. So we are going to put this on our chicken, apply it well to the chicken. See that all the pieces get coated very well. And now we're going to add the turmeric powder. So I'm using about 1/4 of a teaspoon of haldi powder, turmeric powder. And then we're going to coat the chicken very well with this paste. And after we do that, we're going to marinate it and leave it for about a minimum of 1 hour. If you can keep it overnight, there's nothing like it, because then the flavor really, it really elevates the flavor of this dish if you keep this marinated overnight. Now, once we have finished with marinating the chicken, we're just going to heat some oil in a pan, and we're going to put our chicken pieces into it, and we're going to brown the chicken well on both sides. So you can keep turning the chicken on and off so that both sides get nicely browned. Now apply the remaining marinade, whatever is remaining, because it is full of flavor. So just apply it to the chicken. Now add the reserve water. What the reserve water is that when once we grind the paste in the mixer and we wash the mixer pot, the water that we get is called reserve water. If you don't have that, just use regular water, half a cup of water. And now we're going to cover and cook this for about 5 minutes. Now in the meantime, we're going to heat some oil in another pan, and I'm going to be adding some very thinly sliced potato rounds. This is a must for Cafrial. I mean, it really brings out the flavor of the dish. Also, cut some onion rings and keep aside. So we're going to fry both the potatoes. First, we're going to fry the potatoes till they're nice and golden brown. And then after we're done with the potatoes, we're going to fry the onions till they're nice and golden brown. Now here, our chicken is almost ready. So fry the potatoes well. And then just coat the chicken with the lovely green masala. And now our chicken is all ready. You can just check the chicken by just inserting a knife or a fork, and it should really break very easily, as well as it should be nicely cooked well. Now what I like to do is I like to add the fried potatoes and onions into this chicken itself and then coat it with the green masala. If you like, you can just serve it separately as a side dish. It really tastes good anyway. So now I'm just going to be adding my fried potatoes and fried onions to this dish, and I'm going to let the masala coat all of the meat and the chicken. I mean the chicken and the potatoes and the onions. And friends, our chicken kafrial is all ready. This goes well with rice, with chapatis, puris, bread, pav, anything. It's just so very delicious. So I hope that you like this recipe very much. And if you did, then don't forget to leave it a big thumbs up. Please do subscribe to my channel by hitting the red subscribe button that you see just below this video. And once you have subscribed, just click the little golden bell so that every time I put up a new video on my channel, you get a message so you can see what is Akshata putting up on her channel, and you can enjoy the recipes and the vlogs. So friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care guys. Bye. So for today's recipe, first we're going to prep all our veggies. So I've washed my French beans really well, or farasvi as we call them, and I'm just going to chop them, sideways like this with a very sharp knife. I like to cut them small, but you can keep them long too. It all depends on what you like. I like to cut them into bite-sized pieces. Now I'm just going to wash the carrot, peel it, and I'd like to take out the center white part, and then again I chop it sideways into small little bits like this and set it aside. So you can always prep your veggies, a day ahead and keep. So I'm going to cut up my capsicum. I'm going to take up all this white stuff, and then I'm going to chop it up into small bits like this. So the choice is yours. You can cut it up into small bits, or you can keep them even into long slivers. I like to cut them into small pieces because it's much easier to, eat them rather than the long, cut slices. But again, like I said, choice is all yours. And then I'm going to, chop up the spring onions. So first I like to chop the leaves up and then the onions. Now one tip here is soak these spring onions, before you start chopping them, into some salt water for at least 15 minutes. Wash them well and, give them a nice wipe with your kitchen napkin and then chop them up. Now I'm using salami. I'm just going to chop the salami, but you can use sausages, you can use ham, you can use bacon, prawns, the choice is yours. And I'm just going to add some salt to the eggs and just beat them up. And now I've added 6 cups of water to a pan. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the sauce. So in a bowl, I've taken 2 tablespoons of soya sauce, 1 tablespoon of red chili sauce, then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Szechuan chutney or Szechuan sauce, 1 tablespoon of green chili sauce, 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Now I'm going to take 2 Maggi soup cubes and I'm going to add that. So you don't need to add any salt because these soup cubes have enough of salt content. So the only salt that we added was when we were beating up the eggs. Otherwise, these soup cubes make up for the salt. So don't add any extra salt. And then 1.5 teaspoon of pepper powder. And we're going to mix all of this and set this sauce aside, which we're going to add later. So now our water has started to boil, and now we're just going to add the noodles and we're going to cook it as per the instructions on the pack. So, all types of noodles have their own instructions as to how many minutes you have to cook them. So cook them well and then just strain them. And after you strain them, just add about a teaspoon of oil or half a teaspoon of oil and just, ruffle them up like this and set them aside so that they don't get, sticky. Now in a pan, I'm just going to add half a teaspoon of oil or 1/4 teaspoon of oil, and I'm just going to add the egg and just scramble the egg up and set it aside. Then I'm going to fry all the veggies really well on a high flame for very little while till they're nice and crispy. So what you can do is, keep all your veggies chopped up ready. And then all you have to do is just get your noodles ready, just fry everything and then assemble everything. And this chow has to be had really piping hot. So, that's how. Anyway, now so I've added 1 tablespoon of oil to a wok, and to that I've added the spring onion part as well as half of the greens. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. I'm going to fry all of this really, really well. Now you could add even chopped up ginger and garlic. And now after this, I'm going to add all our fried veggies and the fried salami and the scrambled eggs to this and fry everything really well on a medium to high flame. Now once you've done that, just add all the noodles and just, mix them up well with the veggies. Now I'm going to add the sauces. And that's it, friends. Just fry this on a very high flame for half a minute or for a minute and turn off the flame. Put it into a serving bowl, sprinkle some spring onions, and it's all ready. And like I said, have this piping hot. So give this recipe a try, guys. These Goa sausages. So it comes in a roll like this for those of you who are new to Goa sausages. So it has a casing. Now some people like to retain the casing when they're preparing the sausage pulao or rice or the chili fry, but I prefer removing the casing. So if you want to keep the casing on, it's absolutely fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm just taking a sharp pair of scissors and I'm just going to cut off the casing. It's very simple to do. If you do it on the outer side of the sausage like this, and then I'm just going to collect all the meat, the sausage part, and just keep it aside in the bowl. Now, if you see, I've kept a butter paper on my cutting board. That's because sometimes the sausages have a very strong red color, and that sometimes stains your cutting board, and it takes a long time to go off. So, if you can just keep a paper or a tissue or a napkin with the paper. I mean, with on the sausages on the paper, so that way it won't discolor your cutting board. Now, Goa sausages are available in selected places. Now, if you go to Bandra, you will definitely get it in many, many places. Otherwise, I mean, in places mostly like Borivali, Bandra, Mahim, you will get them in selected stores. And I guess they are available online too. So today I'm going to be preparing this Goa sausage chili fry, as well as the sausage rice or pulao. Now I'm preparing a very small quantity, just enough for 2 people, because I'm using just a little bit of Goa sausage. So I'm just using about a quarter kilo packet. So if you want to make it, for a larger, for more people, then you just have to double the quantity, use half a kilo or 1 kilo, and just double the quantity of everything. If you want to make it for 4 people, you want to make it for 8 people, then just increase the quantity as per the recipe. So now I've just I'm just going to chop the sausages into bite-sized pieces. So you can cut them as to whatever size you like. I'm just keeping them for about, I think, 1 inch thickness. Now let's start by seeing how I'm going to prepare the simple sausage chili fry recipe. It has just 3 ingredients, friends. It just has the sausages, some potatoes, and some onions. That's it. Now, many people like to add tomatoes, they like to add chilies, they like to add other spices, but I like it the simple way. This is how my mom, my grandmom used to prepare it. It's just, simple, because the sausage itself is so flavorsome. So if you add, tomatoes and you add everything else, it just takes away, the authentic taste of the sausage, because it's really, really flavorsome. And if you really want to, have a simple chili fry, then this is the recipe for it. Now I've just taken 2 medium-sized potatoes. I've just kept some water aside, because potatoes do get discolored if you keep them for a long time outside. So I'm just going to peel them, chop them into cubes. Not very small cubes, not very large cubes, just medium-sized cubes, as you will see how I cut them. And then I'm just going to keep them in the water, some water for some time, so that they don't get discolored. Now, one tip I'd like to give you here, which I follow, is as you're cooking and prepping, clean up side by side. Either you keep a small little brown paper bag, like I've shown you in many other of my videos, and just collect all of the peels, etc. Or just, as you finish with one particular prepping, just dispose of all the peels, etc. That makes your work easier at the end of the, when you're ready to cook, because then you don't have a load of cleaning. So I follow that. It makes my work less. So in this way, I'm just going to cut my potatoes. And now I'm just going to use 2 medium-sized onions. And I've given the onions a little bit of a wash under running water. And I'm just going to cube them up in a similar way. So just take off the tips like this. Peel them. And then there's a little white part that's there. Just take off that part. And once that is done, we're just going to chop them up into cubes. Now, for those of you who want to use white onion, you can go ahead and use white onion, but the flavor of the red onion with this sausage chili fry is just amazing. Now, every home has a different recipe of, sausage chili fry. So if you'd like to share your family recipe, please leave the recipe down in the comment section below. I would love to know how, other families and other homes prepare their sausage chili fry. But this is how my grandmom and my mom made it, a very, very simple recipe. So once we've done with peeling of the onions, we're just going to chop them up again into cubes like. So now I have a pan heating on a low to medium flame. Now first what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the sausages to the pan because these sausages have oil in them, a little bit of oil. So we're just going to use that oil to just fry the sausages just a little bit. Not too much, but just lightly fry them in the pan. So like I said, I'm just making a very small quantity just for 2 people. So we're going to just fry this very lightly in the oil, and you'll see that the sausages do leave out a little bit of oil. And now I'm just going to be adding the onions. I'm just going to drain the water off the potatoes, and I'm going to be adding the potatoes too. Just give everything a light mix. And then all we have to do is just add enough water to cover up the sausages and the potatoes and onions a little bit more. Because what we're going to do is we're going to just cook all of this together. So I'm just going to add a little bit of water, say roughly about 2 cups of water, just enough to cover the sausages and the onions and the potatoes. And then all we have to do, friends, is just cover this and let it cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes on a very low flame, or until the potatoes are nicely cooked. Now you don't have to add any salt or anything. So now after cooking them for a nice 20-25 minutes, I'm just checking whether my potatoes are done. And yes, they are done. So my sausage chili fry is ready. What you can do is also just take a little bit of the sausage part and just taste it. And if you find that it's really nice and done and it's not tough, that means your sausage chili fry is all ready. And now let's see how to prepare this simple Goan sausage rice or chorizo rice, or you can also call it sausage pulao. It's just beautiful and delicious and very, very flavorsome. So let's see how we prepare this recipe. It's super simple and it has very, very few ingredients, as you'll see now. So this is a little bit of the sausages that I retained for the pulao. I have about 2 medium-sized onions chopped, 1 cup of rice that I've washed and soaked, and a few spices, which I list down in the ingredients below, and some turmeric powder. Now here I have some clarified butter or ghee. Now I like to always make my pulaus or, flavored rice in ghee because it really enhances the flavor of the dish. So I've roughly taken about 1.5 tablespoons of ghee. To that, I'm going to add my whole spices. Now, in my whole spices, I have an inch of cinnamon, Then I have about 2 elaichis or cardamoms. I have about 6 peppercorns and about 4 or 5 cloves. That's all that you require for this pulao. Now we're going to let this fry a little bit in the ghee because we want to flavor the ghee with these wholesome spices. Now I'm going to add my onions and I'm going to fry the onions till they become translucent. Now most of the pulaus, when you make them in ghee, they have just a different flavor of their own. So now that our onions are nice and fried, to that I'm going to be adding my chopped up chorizo or Goan sausages. And I'm going to fry these well too. Now I'm going to add a little bit of turmeric powder or haldi powder because the lovely yellow color. Now if you want to go with the white color, then just skip this step. Again, mix everything well together so that the haldi powder or the turmeric also coats all of the mixture well. And now that the rice that I've taken, I've just washed it well thrice, soaked it for about 15 minutes in some water. I'm going to drain off all the water and I'm going to add this rice now to this mixture. Now just give everything a good mix. Again, do not add any salt because the sausages do have salt in them. However, if you feel afterwards that you do require to add a little bit of salt, so just before the rice is about ready, you can add a little bit of salt to the rice, but I'm not adding any salt. And now I'm going to add exactly 2 cups of water, that is double the quantity of the rice that I've used. Now just give everything a mix, and then we're going to put the flame on high and we're going to let the water start to boil. So whenever I make any kind of pulaus, I always use double the quantity of water to the rice, and that gives you the perfect consistency of the rice. You don't get it very raw, or you don't get it extra soft. So once our water does come to a boil, then we're just going to cover it, lower our flame to low to medium or even to extremely low, and let the rice cook till all of the water evaporates. And once that is done also, you just mix all the rice together and then turn off the heat, but keep your vessel covered for another 5 minutes. That way your rice will, cook in the remaining heat and it turns out just perfect.